So when you think about the Little Prince, you probably picture him hopping from planet to planet, right? His big journey across the cosmos. But what if the most important lessons aren't out there, but right here on his tiny, tiny home planet? Today, we're diving into how this impossibly small world reveals some of life's biggest truths. Okay, so our narrator, a pilot who's stranded in the desert, meets this strange little boy. And the boy says he's from a world called Asteroid B612, a planet so small it's barely bigger than a house. I mean, you could walk across it in just a few minutes. Imagine that. A world where everything is immediate, personal, and perfectly scaled for one little person.
Now, you'd think a world that small has to be simple, right? But nope, not at all. On this tiny planet, the prince faces these huge dangers and also discovers these profound comforts. It's actually a really powerful blueprint for how we can all tend to our own inner worlds.
So let's start with the biggest problem on this small planet, the baobabs. And as we're about to see, they're so much more than just weeds.
Pretty early on, the prince tells us about this constant struggle he has. See, his planet is just infested with the seeds of these baobab trees. He explains that he needs a sheep to eat the little sprouts before they have a chance to grow, because if they do grow, well, the consequences are catastrophic.
And this is what makes the baobabs so absolutely terrifying. They aren't just an inconvenience. They are a threat to his very existence. If you don't pull them up the second they sprout, their roots take over and can literally tear his tiny world apart from the inside out.
And get this, the author, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, he drew this stark, dramatic image himself. He wants us to feel that urgency, that feeling of a planet being just completely destroyed. It makes it really clear, this isn't just gardening. This is a daily battle for survival.
Which, of course, brings us to the key question, right? The one that elevates this whole story beyond a simple children's tale. Is he really just talking about trees? Or is there something much, much deeper going on here?
And this is where we see all the layers of meaning. For years, readers and scholars have seen the baobabs as this powerful metaphor. They could be our bad habits, or our negative thoughts. They might represent the kind of adult arrogance that just chokes out creativity. Some people even argue they symbolize destructive ideas like Nazism, which Saint-Exupéry was seeing firsthand when he was writing. But really, at its core, it's about discipline, that daily, vital task of clearing out the bad stuff before it becomes catastrophic.
But hey, life on his planet isn't just about danger and discipline. There's another side to it, a unique and beautiful kind of comfort that perfectly balances out the threat of the baobabs.
You see, thanks to his planet's tiny size, the prince has this amazing gift. He doesn't have to wait all day for a sunset. He can see one whenever he feels like it. All he has to do is move his chair just a few feet, and he can watch the sun dip below the horizon all over again.
And then he tells the pilot something just incredibly poignant. He says, "One day I watched 43 sunsets." 43. Can you imagine? It suggests a sadness so deep that he needed to soothe it over and over and over again.
The prince himself makes the connection crystal clear. He doesn't just watch sunsets because they're beautiful. He watches them as a kind of remedy, a companion to his sadness. It's his personal way of coping with these really big, overwhelming feelings.
And here's a fascinating, kind of heartbreaking detail. That number, 43, it probably wasn't random. When The Little Prince was published, the author himself was 43 years old. It's this subtle link between the creator and his creation, hinting at the very real sadness that's woven right into the fabric of this story.
So, what do we get when we put these two ideas together? The dangerous baobabs and the comforting sunsets. Well, this is where the story reveals its central message. It's a guide to managing our own tiny planets, our inner lives.
The story presents us with this simple but really powerful parallel. The prince's daily chore of uprooting baobabs becomes our task of confronting negative thoughts before they take root. And his simple act of moving his chair to find a sunset is a reminder for us to actively seek out beauty and comfort, especially when we feel sad.
It all comes down to this, a balanced act of vigilance and self-care. It's not enough to just weed out the bad stuff. You also have to actively make space for the good stuff. That's the daily discipline of tending to your own soul.
And this connects perfectly to the book's most famous line, the one the fox gives him. This inner work, uprooting our baobabs and seeking our sunsets, it's not something other people can necessarily see from the outside. It's about what is essential but invisible, the kind of truth you can only understand with your heart.
So, that leaves all of us with a question. As you go about your day on your own little planet, think about this. What are the tiny, dangerous baobab seeds that need your attention right now? And, just as importantly, where can you move your chair to find a moment of beauty and peace?